Hey, welcome back for part 2 of the glitch tutorial series. Today we're going to look at converting the glitch jockey function so that it returns offset UV coordinates instead of a texture. And that's going to make this function really modular so that we will be able to drop it in pretty much anywhere in this scene and in any other synesthesia scene out there. So I know it'll be super useful, and I'm excited to show you all this technique. Alright, to get started, we're going to go ahead and open Glitch Jockey if you haven't already. We'll click Edit Scene, and we can open up our console log and see that our scene loaded successfully. From there, I'm going to go ahead and just turn off all of these effects and masks, turn off this beat comp feedback, glitches on, and I'm going to turn off effect layer 2. We'll just look at effect layer 1 for now. I guess I'm going to put on some media. This is from Daydreamer's new AI pack. So yeah, let's get started. We'll go over to VS Code, and you want to open your main.glsl and scene.json files at the minimum, and we'll scroll over to line 127 where our glitch jockey function is. So right now the function is returning a vec4, and that's because we are getting our texture color from the passed in texture, and then down here, I know we haven't gotten here yet, but we're actually calling the texture lookup here, where we could just be returning UV coordinates and then doing the texture lookup later. And you'll see why very shortly, why this is should be the preferred way of doing it, in my opinion. So getting started, we're going to change this return type to vec2, and we're going to get rid of this mypass. Next, let's go ahead and pull out 129 to 132. That's gone. This looks good. I intend to go back and explain what this means, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to clean up this function. So going on, we have, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit. In this section, this is our X offset, and you can see that because we're adding a vec2 to the uwu coordinate, but we're only sending a value in the X position, the first parameter of our vec2. And so, as you can maybe guess, down here is the Y offset section. I don't need to put that. Alright, so we are going to trim off this front and remove this parenthesis. We got this extra V. And then in GLSL, you could just put plus equal here, and this is saying add this vec2 to my already existing value in uwu. We're going to do the same thing here. Let's see. And then remove our parenthesis, and we can see this negative here, so really this is a minus. We're going to do minus equals and trail off this negative. Then let's do this in the function below as well. And the negative. Then we're going to get rid of this, and I'll show you how we're going to mix this UV function. And we want to return uwu, and we're actually going to want to save separate copies of our uwu X offset and our uwu Y offset. We'll set these here, at the top, we're going to do uwu x equals uwu, and then uwu y equals uwu. Alright, and then, we got an extra w. We're going to set this to be the x value. We'll set this to be the y value. And the reason for the plus and minus, really not trying to get into it in this episode or this part, but this is what's causing our glitch to go in opposite directions by some finite amount reserved in glitch size. Alright, so now that uwu x and uwu y are being offset, we want a way to assign that to our actual returned value. And later on we'll go in and make controls for saying we only want a horizontal glitch or we only want a vertical glitch or some mix of the two. But for now, we're just going to give them a blend of everything based on sin random on beat. And for that, we're going to use a compound mix function. So that's going to look like this. I say uwu equals mix uwu, comma, mix again. We'll leave this empty for now, comma, underscore glitch. And then in our internal mix function, so what's happening here is when our glitch control toggle is turned to on, our uwu coordinate goes from being itself to a combination of uwu x offset and uwu y offset. So we're going to do that like this. We're going to mix uwu x, uwu y, and then we're going to mix it by sin random on beat. And what this is going to do is it's going, every time a beat is detected, it's going to return a value between 0 and 1.0. And just to recap, in a mix function, our third parameter is recommended to be a value between 0 and 1. And at 0, it'll give us our full first value, our uwu x. So when random on beat returns 0, uwu will be entirely comprised of the uwu x offset. Whereas if it returns 1, it will be comprised entirely of the uwu y offset. And if it returns anything in between, it'll give us a mixture. And the way that looks is at 0.5, 50%, you get a little bit of both, or the same amount of both. At 20%, you get 80% of the first value and 20% of the second value. At 80%, you get 80% of the second value and 20% of the first value. Okay, we want a semicolon here, and then this looks good to me. So now we want to go replace where we're actually calling the glitch jockey function. I'm going to control F, hop down here. So we're going to get rid of this because we're not returning a vec4 anymore. And it actually gets really nice here because we've already defined this UV coordinate. It's called everywhere. So that means we can actually just call glitch jockey here and say, and pass it the UV coordinate. Actually I want to be doing this up a layer higher. Alright, we'll do that here. And then let's go back over to synesthesia and we'll control R for reload. And we can see our scene still functioning. And honestly, I'm really liking how that's looking. So I think this is record time for tutorial. I hope I didn't go too fast, but since we are around the 10-minute mark, let's go ahead and show how we can apply this to every layer of our scene here. So we're just going to copy this line from 178 and paste it over in 189. Remove that. And then again at 200. And then let's leave this alone for now. So as it stands right now, when we turn the glitch on, it'll affect every single layer in Glitch Jockey 5000, and I'd imagine it's going to look pretty messy. Let's go check it out. I mean, it kind of looks the same, but it'd probably be nice to have individual layer controls. So let's do that now. This is layer 1, so I'm just going to go through and create mix functions, and then we will go into the scene.json and create our controls. So let's say mix UV. So if the glitch isn't turned on, then we just want our regular UV coordinate, but this needs to be underscore UV. That's the built-in synesthesia UV variable. And then we're going to call this, let's see what the format is in the rest of this. Effect layer 3 on layer 3. We'll call it layer 3 glitch. Well, we'll call it layer 1 glitch. And then let's go ahead and copy and paste this, save ourselves some time. And we'll do layer 2 and layer 3. And then we're going to go over to our scene.json. We'll leave this glitch envelope alone for now. I think we'll probably call it at just getting these layers set up. Alright, so this one's going to be called layer 1 glitch. We'll go ahead. Oh, but we also want to control our glitch power. We'll do that in a later. Okay. That. We'll rename these. Nope, this is layer 3 though. And then, oof. Let's see. Okay, this is sorry, I shouldn't flip right past this. So we've gotten an error message, and it says undefined variable underscore glitch. This little number right here tells us that it's likely at line 156 in the main.glsl file. So let's go see what's going on. 151. Okay, so we just renamed this control and made 3 other controls, so it's saying it's undefined. And what I've overlooked here, or I guess forgot to look at, is that now that we're handling the turning on of the glitch effect at the individual layer level, we actually don't need to control it here at line 156. So we're just going to remove this outer mix function. And so it should look like this. And yeah, so just to recap, this is randomly sending a mix between our X offset and our Y offset to our UU coordinate, which will be translated as our UV coordinate throughout. Coming back down, everything looks good here. Also, what I'm realizing is that it will affect the feedback layer, it looks like, which is a nice little bonus. So let's Control R, reload. We've successfully reloaded, and we can see our new toggles are here. All right, let's check it out. So let's turn on layer 2. We'll bring the glitch power up, and there it goes. I like how it's nested behind, or like in the mask layers. That's a nice effect. Let's turn effect layer 3 on. Nice. We'll turn off this. Let's see if the feedback's affected in it. So we'll turn on layer 1 FB, and let's bring this fade pretty far down. But layer 1 glitch needs to be on. We'll turn layer 2 off, bring the glitch power up, and yeah, there it goes. Nice little blur. I'm sure y'all can find uses for this sort of tech. Alright, and then I noticed when we were back over in the code that we're multiplying by syn base hits here, so we're really not getting our true beat detection algorithm from up here. So we're just going to go ahead and trim off the syn base hits in each of these lines. That's line 140, 143, 150, and 153. We'll save, Control S to save. If you're getting errors, you're probably not saving, or I'm messing up. I don't know, that sounded cocky. Alright, and then we'll Control R to reload, and oh yeah, you can already tell the difference in the way the glitch is forming. Let's go ahead and make our hum threshold huge, and this. Yeah, you can play around in here, turn all the effect layers on. It'll work with the feedback and probably get you some pretty neat looks. I think we'll go ahead and call it here. We'll do a part 2.5, and I'll show you how we can drop this function into a variety of other synesthesia scenes. But until then, I hope you found this tutorial useful and learned something, and I'm excited to see what y'all make with it. Thanks. Bye.